ANZAC commemorations. So each day we have an ex-service who is speaking. Just to plug our next two, so tomorrow here we will have Keith Wineski, who is from the Royal New Zealand Navy, speaking. That'll be at 10:30 tomorrow. And then on Friday, Rick Tame, who is from the New Zealand Army, speaking. Also today at 12 o'clock, 12 to 1, we'll be broadcasting Auckland Library's webinar, which will be broadcast from the Auckland Art Gallery, and that is remembering military nurses, and that will be playing on the screen behind me, provided technology can work, because in the past we've had a few issues with connecting to them. Okay, so today our speaker is Wiremu Keepa. He was born and raised in Rotorua. He joined the Royal New Zealand Navy in 1971 and served for 20 years. When he retired in 1991, he was a Chief Petty Gunnery Officer Instructor. And then many of you will probably know Wiremu from here at the library, where he runs his te reo classes, because after leaving the Navy he moved into academia. So if we can just give Wiremu a very good warm welcome. Thank you.
A tia mauri ora, tia hei uri, tia hei napanako, eke ke panuku, eke ke tangaro harama te tōki hami e hui e tai ki e tūtahi mihi ake au ki Taronga Rawa. Nāna nei nā mea katoa, nāni hanga tarangi, nāni hanga te papa, nāni hanga tau te tangata, nāni homai te waiora ki ahau tau te rānei. Tūrua mamahara tātou ki a rāta kuhinga, kuhinga, kuhinga. O te ramarai, o te ramarai, o te ramarai. Haere, 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 pitiran tia ki te pō. Piki mai rā, kaki mai rā, homai te waiora ki a hau, tū taki wai, taki wai, taki wai ore. Kanui te mihi ki a koutou kūtai mai. Te toko te kaupapa o te ata nei, no reira. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. How do you move it?
You probably need a tin.
Sabotage.
Oh God.
Which way? To commence my presentation, it's at this time that we remember His Royal Highness, the Prince. He was the highest rank of the military. Admiral of the fleet. Apart from him being a prince, apart from him being the Queen's husband, to us, he was the uppermost in the ranking of the Navy. Alongside Prince here, we had two of our ex-Navy pass this week. Blue Tuatini. His nehu was yesterday, and tomorrow we had another sailor who passed away, and his nehu is tomorrow. So, kia rātou kuhinga, haere, haere, haere. As the introduction, I was born to Wiremu, and we did it in a Keepa. I was schooled at the Rotorua Primary School, just up the road there. Sunset Intermediate, and Western Isles High School. It was at Western Isles High School that my first introduction to the Navy. Our PTI at Western Isles High School, Dick Gordon. I struggled through high school, like a lot of us at that time. And so I decided to pack a suitcase and did my OE down in North Island, further over to the South Island. I came home and I thought, I've got to join the military. I've got to do something. There I am, 3-month-old sailor. So after my OE, I returned back to Rotorua in 1971. I joined the Navy purely by the toss of a coin. I was outside the Labour Department, toss a coin, heads, I'd join the Army, tails, I'd join the Navy. 20 years later, I left the Navy. So obviously it turned up. I set the Jordan exam. 3 months later, I was on a bus, New Zealand Road Services bus, to Auckland. I did a 3-month basic training, naval adjustment. It was there that they pushed our civilian attitudes out, brought in our military attitudes. I did a further 3 months basic branch training, seamanship. And then I did 3 months basic specialist training, gunnery. We had a choice of gunnery, sonar, radar, or hydrography. And being a macho, gunnery. So we took gunnery. Ceremonial played a large part, a very, very large part in our naval career. If we weren't at sea, we performed ceremonial guards. We were taught how to march, how to salute, how to double march, how to pay respects. Eventually, after graduated as Chief Petty Officer, it was my turn not only to be taught how to teach the sailors, but that ended up to be my role, to be a gunnery instructor. That was our little toy, one of our major toys on a warship, the 4.5-inch turret. Was my role as a senior gunnery instructor to train all the gunners on how to get a shell out of the end of those barrels to hopefully hit the target. So I had to train sailors 3 decks below the turret to feed the ammunition up. Feed the ammunition into this turret here. We also needed specialist qualificators, specialist guys to detect the targets, the enemy. Do it by radar. If we were going to carry out a naval gunfire support, we were given the information by radar, we were given information by the ship's speed. We fed all that information into the computer, and even Earth's rotation, because by the time a shell left that barrel, it's up in the air, but the Earth has moved. So we've got to take that in. The tidal current, got to take that into account. The ship's speed, take that all into account. And hopefully hit the target. These 4 ships here, that was, it hardly ever happens to get the 4 ships, 4 frigates together. And that was an occasion we had to go down to Wellington. 3 of the ships were operational. The Otago had just come out of refit. The Admiral demanded that ship join the other 3. So as the 3 of us were out at sea doing exercise manoeuvres, the Otago crept along the coastline, very softly, very gently, to get to Wellington. And here we are doing our manoeuvres. You see the second one from the top there? I'm sure that captain would have got a blasting from the other 3 captains because he's out of line. And we pride ourselves on ceremony. Blew it. The ship's there, this one here, F-148, Taranaki. The one further over, Otago, further over, Canterbury, further over, what have we got up there? Waikato. I served 4 commissions on the HMNZS Canterbury. Took me from Devonport to Australia, went to Sydney, Newcastle, Cairns, Darwin, up to Indonesia, up to Singapore. We always go to Singapore. We always play the battalion, first RNZIR battalion. We almost invariably beat them in rugby, invariably. Then we head on up further up to Korea, Japan, China. Come on back down through Bougainville, back to Australia to refuel, and back over here to New Zealand. Oops. Once again, Canterbury. Oh, there's me, a junior sailor. long time ago. Oh, gee, what's happening here, the boys? That's me as a petty officer. So from my junior sailor time, it doesn't happen overnight to get promoted. You got to do the hard yards. So my first trip overseas was on the HMNZS Taranaki. I was an able seaman. Went overseas, did all the islands, did up to Singapore, came home. That was about a 9-month journey there. Came home. I worked my way up to a leading seaman. Then I got posted ashore to HMNZS Tamaki, which is at Narrow Neck, Devonport. Did another 9-month course ashore there. Once I graduated, waited for another ship. So I think from Taranaki I went to the Canterbury, served 2 years on Canterbury, came home, did another course to further my specialist qualification, promoted to petty officer, then another course on top of being a petty officer to Gunnery Instructor. Once I left the Navy after 20 years, we as sailors still gravitate. We still gravitate with each other. And this one here is on an occasion of another gunnery instructor, a friend of mine who passed away 2 years ago. We had his unveiling down at Pio a month ago. And here we are, the word got out, we use social media, I've got the Navy Facebook page, bang, straight away, we all turned up here.
Where are you?
I'm I'm out of sight. I'm right up the corner there on the left. Here we got who turned up at this tangihana, 4 gunnery instructors, ex-gunnery instructors, in a bar. The badge, the chest badge here, the HMNZS Wellington. That was the second to last ship I had served on before leaving the Navy. It was an absolutely fantastic ship, that one. Really modern. However, modern in those days, today, that's ancient. They've got really modern warships now. Another one here was a tangihana of a Navy friend of ours, Henry Howe. So once again, tangihana, we gravitate. We all move together. And not only to pay respects to he or she who has fallen, but to get together and remember, reminisce. This one here is armistice. Armistice at the Rotorua Airport. Once again, we get together. Here is ANZAC at Whakarewarewa. I am a trustee with the Whakarewarewa Military Remembrance Trust. So it's our duty and honour to organise ANZAC down at Whakarewarewa. Now, just a little, but after the dawn parade that's happening down at Ohunamutu at 6 o'clock Sunday morning, after the march, after the cheese and coffee with or without Tono Hopu, then we head over to Whakarewarewa School. It's been traditional that an ANZAC ceremony happens there. Briefly, we're there. From there, we go to the bridge. And there we will have another ANZAC parade. More than welcome to turn up, whānau. Army Navy. Now, this one here, I've got about 10 slides, and I'll go through briefly, but I'll try and read them too, so it sinks in. These are some of the ANZAC truths. My ANZAC service address today is about a group of Australian and New Zealand servicemen and servicewomen who put together a list of statements on how they perceive ANZAC Day. Most of you will be able to identify with them. For many, it will be something that you will learn about ANZAC Day. ANZAC Day marks the anniversary of the Gallipoli campaign of World War I. ANZAC is an acronym of Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. Each year, on the 25th of April, we reflect on all Defence Force personnel, past and present, and the sacrifices they've made. It is a military funeral. Traditionally, rosemary is worn on ANZAC Day. Rosemary was found growing wild on the Gallipoli Peninsula. It's a very meaningful symbol to wear. The red poppy signifies peace, death and sleep of the fallen servicemen and women, while the purple poppy represents remembrance of the animal who were victims of war. The orange poppy denotes the acknowledgement of the servicemen's families and also acknowledges the family's loss due to the veteran suicide. The white poppy, worn between 1918 and 1939, symbolises the wearer's commitment to peace. We commemorate ANZAC Day, not celebrate it. Before the dawn on 25th of April 1915, as our ANZACs began their fateful journey into ANZAC Cove, the crew of HMS Prince of Wales lined the upper deck and gave them 3 cheers, and not a sound was heard. It's a bugle, not a trumpet. The last post is sounded, not played. Not every serviceman or woman were soldiers. Some were sailors and Air Force. Please take the time to ascertain what service they served in and use the correct terminology. It means a hell of a lot to us. They're medals, not badges. They're citations, not pins. Medal recipients wear their medals on the left side of their chest, covering their heart. Family members and descendants wear the medals on the right side of the chest. No, I'm not wearing my father's or grandfather's medals. They are mine. Earned them during my military service. Medals, ribbons, and unit citations are earned, not won. They are awarded to the recipient, not given to them. Australian and New Zealand soldiers did not retreat from Gallipoli, they withdrew. It really doesn't matter which side you wear your poppy on, as long as it's worn with pride. Traditionally, men on the left breast and a woman on the right breast. ANZAC Day isn't a day to go and watch or play sport. Show some bloody respect to the brave men and women in uniform, past and present, who fought for the blanket of freedom that you currently sleep under. Having a few drinks and playing tour is an ANZAC Day tradition. Getting faced, picking fights and acting like a bloody oboe isn't. When we carried our veteran salute, we placed our right hand to cover up our medals, signifying that no matter what honours we may have been awarded, they are as nothing compared with the honour due to those who paid the supreme sacrifice. Lest we forget, literally means they should not be forgotten. It isn't a throwaway line. It actually has a meaning, so please remember. The most famous World War I poem, In Flanders Field, was written by Major John McCrae, who wrote what he saw before him on the battlefield a day after his best friend was blown up in front of him. The ode comes from the poem For the Fallen, written by Lawrence Bignon. The verse is commonly known as the Ode of Remembrance. In Australia, they say, they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. I've got one more slide, whānau, before I open it up, but just again, once again, if you're available, by all means, come on down to the dawn parade down at Ohimutu, Whakarewa, but there are several others that are happening around Rotorua. If you've got a descendant who served in the military and he's got medals, or he earned medals, but none of the whānau members are wearing them, may I encourage you to apply to get those medals and wear them on ANZAC. If they belong to you, but they're not yours, wear them on the right hand side. Otherwise, military people will wear them on the left. The New Zealand no. E kore rātou, e kau mātua tia, pēnei i a tātou kua mahu e nei. E kore hoki rātou e noi kore. Aha koa pēhea i ngā āhutango te wā, i te hekina atu o te rā, kai noa ki te aranga mai i te ata, ka maumahara tōnu tātou ki a rātou, ka maumahara tōnu tātou ki a rātou. Nō reira, ka nui te mihi ka koutou, tēnā koutou, o tira. Tēnā tātou kato. Ka pai.
Kia ora, wera nei.
Pai.
Tōna maso, I have a question. So during all your time as training and in the different aspects of what it is that you trained in, were you paid?
Paid from the day
Paid for, during your training?
you do, you pay 24/7.
Yeah.
You pay 24/7, but the rates of pay go up incrementally as your seniority, from able seaman to lead seaman to petty officer to chief petty officer, and as your ranking is become Whitman Basic, Whitman Star, so they all step up. You pay 24/7.
The reason I'm asking is that there's a lot of rangatahi out there that actually don't understand that when they join the services, they actually don't realise that while they're studying the different positions or whatever it is that they choose to do,
Aye.
they actually don't get paid to do that.
Aye, pata pai tēnā. From the time you sign the dotted line, you're still in civilian clothes more or less.
Yeah.
You sign the dotted line, you join the military. You now belong to the military. You don't belong to the family, you don't belong to Koutu Road, you don't belong to West Lawrence High School, you belong to the Navy. And so you get paid 24/7. And actually, when you go over to overseas too, if you come within perhaps a war zone, your pay goes up. So we didn't mind going past Russia or China or wherever. But when I served in my 20 years, there was no actual conflict, but there was peacekeeping, and one of them was in Bougainville. And so they asked for military intervention to help with the peace accord. And I was on the Wellington when we went there, and so what we had to do, we had to leave our, what we call our mess, our room of sleeping. There was about 20 of us, we had to leave and go down a rank. They got booted out, so we allowed the chiefs of the island to sleep in our, so we looked after them, and they took liberties of our alcohol, which was fine. But you know, that was just another way of helping with the Peace Corps. You know, made the chiefs feel welcome. But yeah, and I'm an advocate too. Whānau, I'm an advocate of any of our children and mokopuna. Either join military, definitely Navy, but I'll still run with the Army Air Force, police, but the opportunities are there. I know that leaving home is a big thing, but it can happen. And like I say, the Navy, you belong to the Navy, but you still get home. You know, you work hard, you play hard, you're disciplined, extreme discipline, you're extremely fit. But they know that you've got to have your home life, so they allow you to come home for the weekend or whatever it may be.
How do you find the cultural aspects of it?
Say again?
How do you find the cultural aspects of it?
When I joined, there wasn't much there. There really wasn't. We had a kapahaka group. Each ship had a kapahaka group. Because whenever we went overseas, we did cocktail parties, but not for our officers, for the dignitaries ashore, for the diplomats ashore, to come on board our ship once again. And it was also an opportunity for our Trade New Zealand to promo mutton, sheep, whatever, foods, oysters and things like that. So, so what was your question again?
So the cultural aspects of
Oh, yeah. We always had kapahaka group, but it's only since recently now we've got a marae up at Devonport. The Admiral wears a korowai, but he's really pro. He's trying to get te reo heavily involved in ships. Now we got one of our women who's now got a kowai moko, and we had one of our senior petty officers who's got a full. So it's accepted now, and it's realised.
Do you miss the Navy?
I did 20 years there, and I really, the longest part of the Navy, not the 20 years, but the last year, the 19th to 20th year. I couldn't wait to get out. It was amazing. That was a long time. But no, I don't miss the Navy per se, because there's so many changes. I left about the same time when women, with all due respect, and I have got support for our women, but women started going on warships. Okay. So, but no, I don't miss the Navy per se, but we still gravitate. We've got sailors here in Rotorua, and we still meet every now and then. Tangihana and ANZACs. Come Sunday, boy, there'll be so many sailors down there, Army Air Force, bottle of rum, gee, loose lips, sink ships.
Yeah, when they signed the dotted line and you joined the Navy, how long before you didn't get homesick? Long time. Took me about 3 months.
Yeah, but the homesickness starts to wane after a period of time, because a lot of your concentrations are in military. You know, you cannot. You know, we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have Instagrams and things like that. We had to write the letters to the long end, and wait until the ship got to port before it went on and got on an aeroplane and flew back to New Zealand. But now it's almost instantaneous, so we don't miss home per se, because our home is the ship, and our family are sailors from all over the country. And every now and then, and with got some mates from up north, we always give them a little dig. But the history of down here, and then in present day, when Bay of Plenty gives North Glen a bit of a hiding on the football field, but they're tough. But it's all banter.
Well, that's what you miss, I think, is the main thing. The
Yeah.
Navy, well, I love the job that I do,
Yeah.
but first, you know, like I said, yeah, we still gravitate, those of us
We
who
do.
left.
We do.
I know there's still a few of us from that draft.
Yeah, I know. I know.
There's heaps. For my bosses still live here.
But one of the things that we do, we really feels when one of our classmates passes away. Now we join the Navy with them. We did 20 years together, and now kumate. Oh, then you start looking at yourself.
We still fight the good fight.
Yeah. I can find it. Look, I got my mate down here, and he just came on his taxi. He managed to come in, and thank you very much, Ruskell. And the rest is, and I know that the library staff need to get back to work, and then my son over there, and he's busy as, but not a, yeah.
One more part, please.
Come on, part of
With regards to the medals,
Yep.
how is there a site I can go on?
There is. There is.
Look, hey, about my co-master's medal?
Correct. But you gotta be careful. It's a damn good idea. Start looking for them. But if he's already been awarded them, and he's given them to some of the family, it's best that you check with the family, because I don't think they can. They may be able to make duplicates, but by rights you need the original.
Yeah, but there's still a site I can
Yeah,
go
you
to
can.
see
Look up the veterans site. The veterans site. Military, yeah. The military veterans site. And go from there. I can find it at 11 o'clock, time is perfect, Navy time. Namihi nui kia kote, tēnā kote.
Kia ora.
I've got to thank the library staff too.
Oh, leave it on.
Bye.
Bye.